Good morning, everybody. It is Friday, and Liz and I are about to go camping. We haven't gone in forever, so we just need to get away and have some wilderness quiet time. It's supposedly going to rain today over there, so that's gonna be interesting. We've been camping once before where it kind of like drizzled slash rained for like maybe an hour or two, but it's supposed to rain from like 3 to 9, I believe, today. I don't know. So we'll kind of see. As long as we get our tent set up before it starts coming down, that's like the most important part. So just keeping our fingers crossed for that. And yeah, gonna have a good time. So let's go. So we got our tent all set up, and
look like a sausage.
you look like a sausage.
The only sausage we'll have tonight.
Yeah, honestly. So we set up our tent, and it's raining out there. Driving over here was kind of scary because it was super foggy. Like you could barely see in front of the car. So it was a little scary, but we got our tent up as soon as we could, and the rain just now kind of started to fall a little harder than it was before. When we were putting it up, it was just sprinkling. But this is our first camping experience where it rains. At least it's my first camping experience when it rains. Is it your first when it rains? No. No? Okay. Well, it's my first camping experience when it rains, so we'll see how it goes. We'll see if we'll be able to start a fire later on to cook dinner. If not, there's a plan B, so we shall see. But in the meantime, I brought a book to read. What did I bring? I brought this. None of this is true. I got it from the library. I brought an activity book. Liz brought her guitar, and that's pretty much it. I think those are the only activities we have. Oh, and we have games.
Yes.
We brought Lorcana, and what else did you bring?
Skippo.
Uno.
I think categories.
Oh, that's categories. Nice. So we have games, we have a book, we have an activity book, we have guitar. So we have things to entertain ourselves if we just end up staying in the tent. I really hope we light a fire today because I love sitting by one, but we'll see how it goes. But this is it for now. Put our clothes in there. So, yeah. It's really nice and peaceful though. It's like ASMR rain. The rain has picked up, but we're playing. Sounds really nice out though. It'll be nice to fall asleep to the rain. Lorcana! If you've never played Lorcana, highly recommend. Super fun. If you've ever played Magic, it's very similar, but way less complicated. It's like an easier version of Magic. Well, this is a pretty cool experience. It's definitely cold, but it's really cool. I've never camped with the weather like this, ever. I've always camped in it being like sunny and nice. Even if it's cold, it's always sunny. Never this foggy, never rainy. What do you think? You think this is cool? Cool experience?
Oh yeah. It's like the Folklore album cover.
It really is. Okay, based on our weather update from our phone, it's 42 degrees. It's gonna get down to 35 degrees tonight. You can see my breath. It's kind of cool. That's how cold it is. But we got a fire started. Because right now it's not rainy, it's just very, very foggy. The only kind of ick is that we're under these trees. which is great. But anytime a wind gusts, all this water goes splashes on top of us, so that's fun. But it'll be okay. The fire's starting to go. We're gonna get really warm and make food, and then we're just gonna hop back into the tent. I don't think we're gonna stay out too late tonight because of the weather. I think we'll leave it up to tomorrow to really enjoy the fire. Sizzling. Okay, maybe hot dogs were not cooking. So cut them up and put them in the pot in there, so we'll see what happens. Very smart, because now the rain or any sort of droplets doesn't get on the wood. It's going to keep it drier. Alright, we're about to go to sleep.
Or rob a bank. Either.
No, your face gets cold, but that's really smart. But yeah, we luckily were able to have dinner before the actual rain started coming down. Before it was just like a little bit here, a little bit there, mostly from the trees. But now it's literally like raining. Alrighty, good night! Good morning. We are trying to get fire going. Go, 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 go! Because everything is still really wet, but we got a new bundle of wood, dry wood, so that's definitely going to help. But it's going to take a hot second for it to like catch on fire. But then we're going to make breakfast and maybe possibly go on a little hike, even though it is very, very wet everywhere. So that makes me a little nervous, but we'll see. Some ciabatta bread, a little sausage patty, eggs, and a delicious spread, a green onion spread. It's all cooked over here. And now we're boiling some water for our coffee. We decided to change and go on a hike. We'll see where this trail leads us. But it's really nice and green because of all the rain, so it looks cool. Gotta get our body moving, warm up a little bit. Are you excited?
Yes.
Thrilled, huh? Alright, as you can tell, it is nighttime. We just had dinner. I know, obvious.
You're a complete idiot. You don't know the darkest night.
We just had...
News where you...
You're so annoying.
You're in for a good one.
So we just had dinner, and now I'm gonna have a little mini chocolate donut. Every time I go camping, I feel like I'm really, really hungry. All the time. Like, I just sit here and I want to eat all day. Well, it's not much different from my normal day-to-day, but anyway. It's our last night here, and I'm super excited that we've got an actual fire going. Yesterday was an experience. It was our first time camping, like, in the rain. We didn't know what to expect. It was super foggy, but we learned a couple of things here and there. And, yeah, now we know what to bring, what to expect, and be more prepared. I'm just gonna say goodnight. I don't know how to close this out. I don't know. I always get so uncomfortable. So, bye. See you tomorrow. Hey guys. We are back home. We've actually been home for a few days now.
And I wanted to hop on here really quick to give you a couple of tips that we learned camping in the rain. Now, obviously take everything with a grain of salt. Every situation, every camper, every experience is going to be different. So these are just a couple of tips that we picked up camping for the first time in the rain, and I wanted to share them with you. Number one is to make sure you have a thermal. Thermals are really great for camping because they keep your body temperature warm. It kind of traps the heat and it helps you retain that heat throughout the night, because that's usually when it gets the coldest, is when you're sleeping and you're not really moving around. So definitely invest in a thermal to put that under the other layers of clothing that you have. There are so many different ones out there, so just kind of do your own research and see what works best for you. I have a top and bottom. Some people only prefer one or the other. It just really depends on the person, but I do both. So yeah, make sure you have a thermal because especially when it rains, it gets extra cold. Next thing is to have hot hands. So I love this stuff. I don't know if there's any other brands, but this is the one that we use. They look like this. We clearly used it, but this is what it looks like. These are kind of the smaller ones, so they're like little small pouches, and then what you do is then you like shake them up and you can put them either like in your mittens or like in your shoes. Do read the instructions because you're not supposed to put them in direct like contact with your skin except for like I think the palm of your hands and something else. So make sure you read the instructions before you actually, put them in places that you're not supposed to. But Liz put them like in between, like she had like 2 layers of socks, so she put them in between the 2 layers of socks and she found that to be really, really warm. I tried that and it was a little too hot for me personally. So again, play around with it, read the instructions, but those things are amazing. What we also tend to do is just throw that into our sleeping bags. Those particular ones are a little small. However, we did find that they have these, same brand, but it's a lap warmer, so it's pretty big. It's bigger than this. It's like, I want to say like almost double the size is what it ends up being. This thing was awesome. We threw this into our sleeping bag and we were warm the entire night. We've never seen this before, so I don't know if it's new, but it's new to us. Super amazing. This will definitely keep you warm. Throw it in your sleeping bag, or use it like when you're sitting by the campfire, literally on your lap as it's supposed to be. So it's amazing. So highly recommend getting those hot hands. You can buy them like on Amazon with like a huge pack. Bring a rain jacket and rain boots. I wasn't going to bring my actual rain boots, but then like last minute I was like, whatever, I just grabbed them. I am so glad I brought them because I don't have any like other waterproof shoes. Liz is in her hiking boots and those worked great for her. I don't have that. I just had tennis shoes, which is all I tend to bring camping is tennis shoes and my Uggs to keep warm. So glad I brought rain boots because it was muddy, it was dirty, it was wet, and those things just slide on and off. So it was super, super simple. And then all I had to do was just like rinse them off, wipe them down. And it was really, really easy. So highly recommend bringing boots and then of course like a rain jacket. I feel like this is pretty self-explanatory. I feel like it's pretty obvious, but don't put your wood on the ground. Don't take it out of your car or out of your tent or wherever you're keeping it. Make sure you keep it in a nice dry area. We took our wood out for like 2 seconds and we put it on the ground and it started to kind of drizzle and I was like, ah! But it honestly ended up still affecting it. Like, it wasn't the worst and we still ended up using it. A lot of it did end up drying, and then on the next day we burned kind of through the wet part, like it was really smoky and steamy. But it's best to not do that to begin with. It's best to just leave it in your trunk, leave it in your car, keep it in a dry area if you already have your wood. So just don't take it out of the car. Don't put it on the ground. Don't put it anywhere that's wet. So again, I feel like that was such a simple thing, but some people don't think about it or don't realize it until after they do it. Next is to make sure you also bring food that you don't have to cook over a campfire. We are people that love to cook food over a campfire, so we always bring like raw chicken, we bring like hot dogs, we bring a bunch of things that we actually have to like cook over the hot dog, over the fire. But we were lucky enough that we were able to start a fire and have our dinner there, but if it started raining earlier or we just didn't manage to get the fire going, we still had backup food that we could have eaten. So we brought like salad and we brought a couple other things that, didn't require being actually cooked, like it was already pre-cooked. So like turkey slices, like cheese, like things like bread, to make a little sandwich. So make sure you don't only bring food that has to be cooked, bring a couple of backup options that you can just throw together and doesn't need to be warmed up or anything like that. A little bit, again, kind of maybe something that other people may or may not think about, but bring an umbrella. I definitely found that that was really helpful. Even though I had my boots, I had my rain jacket, but like Liz didn't have it, and I put the umbrella also over a couple of items because we were under a tree. So even when it wasn't raining, it was like the wind would go by and it would like splash water everywhere. So in order to keep those items dry, I made sure to just put my umbrella there, and it kept everything dry. Again, like the next day when we had the ground was pretty dry, and then we put like a trash bag and put our wood there. But again, the tree and with the wind, it would have gotten it all wet. So what I did was I put the umbrella like on the ground to cover it, and it was great. And also, of course, you just use an umbrella like you normally would, but I just found that was really helpful to keep certain things dry. This is something that we still honestly have to kind of experiment with if we ever go camping again when it rains, and that is to make sure if you put a tarp down, to make sure you remove your tent and dry that tarp for the next day. We didn't do that, so we came Friday, that's when it rained, and then Saturday night we slept, and so we didn't move anything because honestly it's a pain in the butt to move your tent once it's already staked in the ground. I kind of wish we didn't even have the tarp. I think it would have been colder to sleep, but again, this is something we still have to experiment. But on the next day when we woke up, because of our body heat and the ground was wet and the tarp was wet, everything, it was like still, it like got trapped in there. We woke up to it being wet inside our tent. So I'm assuming what happened was that the cold water that was under the tent that was trapped between the tarp, because the tarp prevents it from getting soaked into the ground. So it's literally just like a giant puddle there. And with the warmth of our bodies laying on top, it just caused a lot of condensation. And we woke up with like part of our pillows wet, part of our blankets wet. Thankfully, Liz bought hover thing that was like water resistant on the bottom and like fleece on top. So we only just got like a little bare minimum of that wetness, but like when you lifted that part, it was all wet. So I definitely recommend either not using a tarp at all when you're camping in the rain, or make sure you remove your tent, dry your tarp, and then put your tent back up. Invest in a cover that is water resistant. Like I said, Liz bought last minute at Costco this blanket which was water resistant on the bottom and fleece on top, and that really helped us because again, the condensation and everything that happened. And also just in case, like you never know, maybe your tent gets caught on something, there's like a small hole, there's a leak, something, at least you're not laying on a full like blanket of water. So definitely have that be like your very bottom layer if you layer your blankets down, to put that down first so that it can prevent all of the water. Number 9 is to eat carbs. Now I know this is super weird, but whenever it's cold, your body needs more carbs. It's burning more to keep you warm. So what you want to do is fuel it with all of those carbohydrates. So make sure you have bread. That's a really big one. Make sure you have like either pre-cooked pasta or rice or something like that so that you can fuel your body, because that is what's going to try and keep you warm. It's going to burn through that. And I found that that was really helpful. Definitely look it up if you're interested. I quickly glanced at it, I'll be honest, and it did say that eating carbs does help you keep warm. I'm assuming it's because your body is really trying to use that energy to make sure you're alive, basically. Again, I'm not a scientist, so do please look that up if you're genuinely curious of how it works. But from my personal experience, just how I felt so much warmer eating those carbs than when we didn't. Bring a book, bring activities, bring games, or something that you can do in your tent if you get rained out and you can't sit outside. Make sure you have something to do while you're in the tent. I brought a book, Liz and I brought games, and I brought an activity book. And don't forget like a little flashlight or a headlamp or something like that to put inside your tent as well, and have backups on that. So yeah, make sure it's just like a nice fun experience regardless of what the weather is. We've never camped in the rain before, so this was our first time, and we've definitely picked up on a couple of things that we know for next time. Like for example, I should have brought my like snow pants because they're also water resistant and they're super warm. So I'm like, okay, next time I know to pack those if we know it's going to rain. You know, it's just, you learn with experience and you learn with trial and error, and I'm sure next time if something else happens we will know more, but this is just like the couple of things that we've learned this time around. And again, it was just one night, so like the next day was beautiful and it was fine. But if you're camping like a whole weekend and it's raining the whole weekend, obviously your experience is going to be different. So I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you enjoyed like the little mini vlog and these tips. I love you guys so much, and I'll see you in my next one.